Welcome to the Queber channel. I am Jason, your host, and Beryl's in the other rooms on the sofa. Kurt is in here with me. Because he's a love sponge and he always wants attention. So first thing we're going to do is take my blood pressure tolerance. My blood pressure is actually really good at the moment. See, I've always had high blood pressure, and it isn't to do with my weight. Even when I didn't have a lot of weight, I always had high blood pressure. I've been on blood pressure meds since my 20s. And so they did all the tests, checked, oh, do you eat too much salt, all this kind of stuff, and that they tested everything. And just come back that I am just one of those people who have a high blood pressure, a natural high blood pressure. So I've been on a couple of blood pressure meds. They're the only medication I'm on for say 20, 30 years. And for some reason, my body copes with their side effects, and I don't get any side effects except for one, with one of them but dealable. So, today's blood pressure, because I just take my blood pressure in the morning. Today's blood pressure is 137 systolic over 83 diastolic, and a pulse of 69, which is actually in the green and good blood pressure for me. So far to go. Hello there, you wonderful person. So, it's a mellow morning. I decided to try to do some of my Beat Saber exercise before coming downstairs. Yeah, my blood pressure can go up to into higher one. Yeah, so that's good. The blood pressure meds, I'm pretty good at the moment. Everything's hello in Denise. Lovely to see you both. Oh, so I did 30 minutes of Beat Saber this morning before coming down. I think it's a good idea to do a Beat Saber early in the morning before I start doing anything. And then I can probably put in like another couple during the day. I love Beat Saber. Yeah. See, let me give you an example of when mine isn't, because mine fluctuates. Mine fluctuates. So, if we go back to a week ago, I was at one. Let me type it in here. A week ago, I was at that. Yeah. No, that's normal. That is also normal for me. My blood pressure bounces up and down all the time. It has for years, since my 20s. It's just my blood pressure is naturally high. And I'm on the maximum amount of blood pressure medication you can be on. No, I haven't looked at the news today. I try to avoid the news to start with. But usually that was high. And it's just, I try to take it at the same time every day and so on. So I'm going to keep an eye on it at the moment. See, it's back down to normal now, my blood pressure is. Today, my blood pressure is normal. But let's have a look what's going on the news. So, Indonesia, what are you seeing in the news that's bothering you so much? I'm not seeing anything important, nothing major. I'm not seeing anything in the news that is really major at the moment, even on Reddit. Ah, yeah, but that's been brewing for a while. There's nothing major, nothing's changed. Yeah, no, there's nothing. I keep an eye on the news when I'm not. Seven zip. What type of files are you trying to compress? That's the most important thing. Are we talking video, audio, or text based, or artwork? What are we trying to compress? That's the important thing for. Oh, there's no doubt, Anthony. The world is pretty much screwed. There's so many things going wrong at the moment. This is why. Here's a tip for you, Anthony. In these kind of situations, the only thing you can do is say, stick your finger up, say screw you to all the bad news. Not because you're hiding your head in the sand, but because you can't do anything about it. Don't spend your energy on the stuff you can't fix. Instead, spend your energy on stuff you can, like spending time with someone you love, spending time with your friends, doing things that make you smile. Very important lesson in life. Yes, we know climate change is destroying the planet. We know that the financial system is screwed for the entire planet. Logistics is down. Food production is down. We're fucked. It's horrible. But I spend my time on here with my friends and I do what makes people smile and we enjoy our time together. We can talk about the real world stuff and that's no problem. I always do. I don't hide from it. But you have to realize very quickly, unless you want to totally destroy yourself, that you can't fix those problems. And so devoting energy and worry and concern to it beyond the fact of saying, okay, so maybe, yeah, yeah. We can't fix those problems. We can't stop them. So whether you spend time worrying about them or not, the result's going to be the same. But you can spend time with your loved ones if it's someone you like and they like you, and you aren't together. Oh yeah, and Denise, I agree. Like I've got backup power supplies in the house. I've got backup water. I've got backup food. I've got like a month's worth of food, water, and I've got pretty much permanent electricity in the house for running my stuff. I've got a solar panel in the backyard I set up. All these things I set up to. Hello, Zenia, Zelnix. I set up to deal with the crisis is going on so I can sleep at night because my brain can't forget these things and I have to deal with them. But having coping strategies helps. So I have backup battery versions of everything. I can even stream on battery power. I've got a battery powered wireless internet thing over there somewhere. I've got, in fact, I'll show you it. I'll show you my little thing. Let's get it here. This is my backup, third backup internet. It involves a wireless amplifier aerial connected to a MiFi 4G via cables, and I can get online, and this runs on one of my battery backups. Hello, Rokushi. And this will run on a one of my battery packs for about a week. Just one of my battery packs will power this for a week. And that means if the power goes out in my house, I can have internet. It won't be wonderful internet because there's lots of walls between me and the local transmitter, but I will still have access to the internet if the internet is still there. So that's my third backup for connecting to the world. And as I've shown Roku before, I've got these, which are 20,000 milliamp, 65 watt, which can charge stuff at 65 watt battery packs. I've got 3 of these, and these 3 can power my 65 watt Samsung laptop, which I sometimes do my streaming here, and can power my Steam Deck, can power recharge batteries and so on. And paired with the solar panel in the backyard, I could keep myself going for weeks, almost months easily. It's harder in the winter because there's less sun, but it's still possible. So even in the event of a power cut, I would still be able to do my streaming in it. You know, I have a solar panel, not a solar panel. And go on, Indonesia, a fun fact. I probably already know it, but go for it. Hey, Avida. So yeah, I have a setup for Indonesia, I've got that covered. You see, I've got a Faraday cage upstairs, which I keep most of my battery packs inside. I've thought of everything. Believe me, my brain wouldn't let me sleep at night if I didn't think of everything. So upstairs, I have what's called an old officer's chest, which is basically World War II officers used to carry around these big freaking metal chests with all their equipment on. They had to be metal because the wooden ones would rot. So they had metal ones, and so it's completely sealed metal, which makes basically a Faraday cage. The energy from an EMP or a solar event would go around. Would go around it, and within my Faraday cage is my backup solar panels. So yes, I have backup solar panels inside my Faraday cage in case we have an EMP or a solar flare. Believe me when I say I back up. Yeah. Oh yeah. Indonesia. And Indonesia, if you 3D print a very inefficient wind propeller, you can pair that with your portable rail and turn it into a permanent little power supply. So yeah, my brain, because of the problem solving side of my autistic brain, I have to think. Yeah, it's like, did you know that nearly all modern torches and light that we have now becomes completely useless if we have a solar flare or EMP blast, because unlike the old style lights, I don't underestimate my brain in any way, shape or form, Indonese. If you took that from the video, then you're watching it wrong. I don't know why. I have never underestimated my brain in any way, shape or form. I know what my brain can do. Back in a minute, just going to grab something. Yeah, modern torches are screwed. Modern torches, in fact, let me go fetch them. Let me go get you these. Show you. Modern torch. Okay, modern torch. We've all got them, LED torches around the house. Completely and totally useless in the event of an EMP, because that little thing at the front is a chip, and it will short out if you have an EMP. Every single freaking light that cities have now, every single thingy is based on this new technology, which is a chip. And when you have an EMP, these are going to blow. They don't. Whereas, as I say, backup for backup. This is an old style incandescent bulb thingy. You can still buy them. They're not as good, they're not as shiny, but what's in there? Yeah, very old light bulbs. You want to make sure of that, because never rely on these if there's an EMP event. If there's a geomagnetic event, these will fail, unfortunately, most of them, because they have a chip built into them. And they are electronics, not just a basic light source. So, backups for backups. I wanted to show you my this is part of my GTFO bag. I have in here lots of. It's a full medical kit. My rocket stove for cooking with firewood. A complete set of medical equipment in there. Gyro-based lighting systems like this, which is a cool little thing. It's a light. It hasn't. You don't charge it. You just charge it up. And you don't have to charge it more because it hasn't been charged for a while. Yeah, they turn the right way. Remember, these kind of battery-powered rechargeable lights, you just have to wind them up slowly. You don't wind fast, you wind them up slowly. And you'll get a little light out of them. You can charge it by a thing in there. Of course, I have my backup Zippo lighter. Candles in here. Emergency blankets. And so on. Emergency foil blankets and all that kind of GTFO stuff to get if I ever had to leave the house. And look at this. Also, as part of that pack, I have this. In case of radiation, I have iodine, high level, good quality iodine tablets. 180 of them, one a day. So on, things like that. Yeah. My brain, because of the way my brain works, Reader, I have to have these things or I won't get to sleep at night. So, yeah, I have backup solar panels, full backup solar panels. Would you like to see my backup solar panels? I say not the solar panel in the backyard, but the third level. I can't drink alcohol, remember, before to go. I can't drink any kind of alcohol. So give me a sec, I'll just have to go upstairs and grab it. It's back in the cupboard. Right. Come back. Come back. Right. So, let's take a look at my stuff. These are all from my Faraday cage type thing. First of all, I've got lanterns in the Faraday cage, so these would even... Hello! So, this is part of this one. Proper lanterns that are solar panel, can charge from the sun. Trickle charge from the sun. Lovely little things, got lots of these, but I keep a set of them in my Faraday cage upstairs in case of an EMP. I keep a set of batteries, power banks, in that same Faraday cage. These ones are the old style, they put out about 5 watts. They carry 26,800 or 26,800 milliamps. So these are the old ones that are in my... So I have some of them out that I use around the house, but a lot of them are in the Faraday cage in case of an EMP event. And I've got another one of those 65 watt ones that are pretty much kick-ass 65 watt ones. And let's say we had an EMP event. This is the way my brain works and the way I have to keep things in different backups of backups of backups. So let's say the power fails. That's your normal thing. And my solar panel in the backyard fails, so I can't charge stuff via that. Well, then we go to my third level of backup, which is these. These you can hang in your window, you can hang in your backyard. They will put out, I believe it's 24 watts on a good day. And they fold up. You can even hang them on the back of your backpack if you've got to walk somewhere. And these, between the three of them, I've got three of them, and I've got to spare another backup one for the backup, and another one here. So, worst case scenario, I would hang these in my windows and trickle charge things if the solar panel in the backyard died. No. Solar panels are quite cheap, actually. Solar panels are quite cheap. And I always make sure there's torches in my house and lanterns in my house and battery chargers in my house that can run off solar panel as well. So that's like a fourth backup for every other backup. So 4 levels of backup. Yeah, 4 levels of backup make me happy. Because the thing is, with my issues, with the way my brain works, when I can wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and my brain will say, hey, what happens if the power goes out? And if I can't give a reply like, okay, I've got this, and this, I won't be able to get back asleep. So for me, it's part of my coping strategies to have all these things in place to make sure that they're there ready just in case, so I can go back to sleep. So I have to have backups and plans in place for every situation. I have 3 different internets. In case the first one fails, I can cross over to the next one. Indonesia, I'm not laughing because I just find you don't understand the level of backups I have in Indonesia. I have an 8 terabyte drive inside my Faraday. I also have a 2 terabyte SanDisk Pro drive inside my thingy that can run just off a USB-C. I also have multiple 128 gigabyte SD cards, and on top of that I have some 32 gigabyte flash drives. Yeah. And I have multiple phones, 2 phones. Each one of these phones has got a 500 gigabyte, that's 500 gigabyte SD card in it, on top of thingy, which contains over 5,000 music files, all my favourite films, everything like that. I have triple, quadruple backups for every part of my life. There isn't a part of my life that isn't backed up. It's crazy. Well, not crazy, but it's, for example, and this is what happens sometimes. One day my brain said to me, hey, what happens if the internet goes down? What happens if Putin decides to have a first strike on the data cables between the UK and America and trashes that? What happens if all the streaming services go down and you can't entertain yourself? All these kind of things. Well, my brain says, let's make backups for this. So I did. Yeah. So my brain works on this idea of multiple backups because you never know what's going to happen. So, for example, I've got a phone that's kept in the Faraday cage just in case. I've got in the window here. One of them should be out. One should be out. That side, no. Where is it? Is it charging? Give a sec. I've got it. I move him around the house. One of my windows has a solar powered radio in it, and then I have like 3 backup versions of radios inside my Faraday cage type thing. I tell you what makes a really good Faraday cage as well. Yeah, if you have access to that, yeah. Here's my backup food. I have in this room, right next to the desk, 65 litres of water. I have 75 litres of water in the actual house, fresh water, in actual containers in the kitchen. 65 litres of water, plus I have the Berkey, which can filter any kind of water from outside, from the canal, from anywhere else that would filter it to be usable. So I've actually got backup short-term water. Hello, Goblin Moon. And I've got permanent backup with the Berkey. The Berkey will even work with, I know it's kind of thingy to say it, but you could actually pee into a Berkey and it would filter it into drinkable water. I would never do that, but, well, I would in a life or death situation, but yeah. It's the equivalent of a life straw type thing, but it's a permanent carbon filters down to a certain micron that will basically filter out anything. So the Berkey, permanent water. And as for food, well, these, they're not the best kind of food. These combined with my with my tinned food supply make for a hell of a good backup food supply. So yeah, I have backups for backups, and it's part of my coping strategy. It's the way I cope. I don't expect really bad things to happen, and I don't focus on all the bad things, but just in case there is bad things happening, I can still do all my coping strategies. I can still listen to my music. I can still do that. I mean, without streaming, people, this is why I say a lot of people would, the reason people would freak out so much in an event where, let's say, the internet went down, would be the little things like, yeah, I've always got loads of rice in, but one of the problems is the modern age is streaming. I love streaming. It's the wonderful thing, the connecting people and that, and the way we can watch films from all over the world streamed and that. But if we had an EMP event, you'd lose access to all your music, all your entertainment, all your films. I mean, how many people in this stream right now have actually turned off their internet and see how many of their computer games will still work without an internet connection? How many have tested that? No, how many of you have checked your game? How many of you have got a set of games on your computers? Like even this listen, every laptop I've got, every computer I've got set up has got a base set of games that will work offline. and they are there just in case bad things happen. It's just a set of games that will run if Steam goes down, or if the infrastructure that Steam is based on goes down. Yeah, the Analog Pocket, yeah. It's like, that's why I have my Steam Deck. My Steam Deck, I love my Steam Deck is basically the equivalent of thingy. Yeah. My favourite offline game, as silly as it sounds, it's an adult game. My favourite offline game is an adult game. It's a... I've talked about it a lot of time before. What is it? It's a game... Let me just grab it. Oh, my mouse is in a place now where it can't be pushed because I've got solar panels on the mouse mat. Okay. Right, the games I have for offline play, I have 3 adult games for offline play. Now that may seem weird, but the thing is, one of the greatest things to distract you in a bad situation. No, I haven't. See, this is the thing. This is the thing people don't think about when they plan for offline. They don't think about porn. Yeah, Steam Deck is amazing. And that the thing is this. Part of your brain that deals with stress is sexuality. In a bad situation, you don't stop wanting to masturbate or whatever. And the thing is, it isn't about that. The thing is, your libido can be a great way for you to override your depression. In as stupid as it sounds, masturbation can help with depression. The release of endorphins, the thing is, it's actually good for your mental health. So, there's that. But there's certain game. Yeah. What are we talking about now? What's Katua Shoujo? Let me look for it. Is he on? Is this one that's on Steam? Because I'm pretty sure I picked you up, Katua. Is it on Steam? I'm not seeing it on Steam. I'm not seeing it in Steam. So I don't know where to get it. So. Oh yeah, you showed me that before. Yeah. Because the thing is, the human mind in a stressful situation falls back on certain things. See, one of the things that kills you in a disaster situation, one of the things that screws you over, isn't the situation itself. It's how your brain deals with the situation. I put on the thing. I'll download it. I'll download that. In fact, I'll download it onto here, and then I can cross it over to my main PC. But I won't download while we're doing this. Probably a bad idea. And so the specific games I download from that I have that are Asian and Japanese translated ones is because they have the kind of storyline that you would. For example, I always talk about this game, and I'm going to talk about it again now. It's called. I'm going to grab it. Right, so. Okay. Okay, let's go to Steam. This is one of the examples of games. Okay, so let me grab the link, although you'll have to say that you're... I'm going to copy this, but you'll have to be logged in to see it. Control V. Let me... Let me just take that there. I'm just trying to find the proper link. Yeah. Okay, so this is Meritocracy of the Oni and Blade. Now this is an adult Asian game. It has multiple paths, multiple endings, multiple content. Basically, this game you could put 100, 200 hours into and never see everything of it. So Meritocracy of the Oni and Blade and a few others like that. This one has... yeah, don't talk about piracy on the channel, Goblin Club Mode. It'll be... get the stream screwed. We don't talk about piracy on here. Now, Meritocracy of the Oni and Blade, you play as a student at a magical college. Your choices will decide on the fate of the world. And your decisions to go corrupted or go pure or go in between or who your allies are will change the story so vastly that it means that entire sections of the game will become available, different areas of the game, and different areas of the game get shut down. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing I grab. And of course I've got KOTOR 1 and 2. I've got Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 and so on, and Icewind, and Divinity, all of these games that can last a long time, because in a... Is it voiced? It's voiced in Japanese. Some of it is. Baldur's Gate. You must have put 1, 2, and 3. But the whole point is, you've got to keep an eye on things and make sure that you've got backups for these things. Everybody should have a backup of something, just in case things go wrong. I mean, this is one of the problems with iPhones. iPhones, most of their software on the iPhone checks back with the internet and has a lot of trouble. Most of the games on iPhones are games as a service. If you take your phone right now, if it's an iPhone, and you disable the wireless connection and the internet connection, and reboot your phone and then try to launch See what things will actually work on your iPhone. You'll be amazed at how much won't work. It's not as bad as on an Android phone, but still, yeah. Anyway, we've got to start food. We've got to start food. Anything off there? Why on that? We've got to start the food. We've got distracted this morning. We didn't do the food. We didn't set the food going straight away. Got into an interesting job. Start the potatoes straight away. Let's get the potatoes. Because we started talking about an interesting subject before I had got everything set up. So this is the last of the fresh potatoes. I'll be on doing rice and that. We're onwards, but potatoes there. I don't think it does. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of research been done for EMPs. Not been a lot of research done on EMPs. Some say it would wipe out everything. Others say it would just do a small amount. DVD players are interesting, but we need the green beans. The green beans. We've got lots of stuff. Let's get the food, the main bits of the food on the green beans. That's too much. Alright, get all this going. Very easy for Jason to get distracted. Yeah. Yeah, feed it. If you want to come up to my house, you are welcome to come up to my house. Yeah. Yeah, the whole point is anybody there's people in the world, let me put something straight. There is people in the world who glorify the apocalypse, who think, oh, we need a reset, we need all this bullshit. No, people are going to die. Your friends are going to die. Lots of people are going to die. There is nothing good about an apocalypse. Absolutely nothing good about an apocalypse. Whether it happened because of a virus, whether it happened because of a nuclear incident, because of something else, nothing good comes from an apocalypse. Your friends, your grandmother, your invalid, people you know are disabled, your best friend, good chance they'll all die. It's not going to be fun. I planned for it so that I can sleep through the night. I don't ever want it to happen, but I see the signs of what's going on around the world, and therefore I prepare. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Aidan. Is hope for the best, prepare for the worst. It's like, it's an amazing situation. See, the thing is, there's a good chance that where you live, you won't get hit by an EMP unless you live in a main city, because they do have limitations, the EMPs do. The worst thing is if we get a solar flare. I mean, anybody who's been watching the solar news and that knows that I think a couple of months ago, if our planet had been in a different position, we would have got hit by one hell of a massive solar flare. Yeah. It was just completely blind luck as to where the planet was and where the giant solar flare came out of the sun, that it missed us. One day it will happen, and we need a hell of a lot more infrastructure in place to deal with it. Because most of the problem is, if we have a solar flare, and the solar flares are not a wonderful thing, if you have a solar flare and a geomagnetic event like this, it isn't the fact that, yes, it will destroy most of the satellites and things like that, but one of the big problems is it will overload your national grid. Whichever country you're in, it will overload your national grid and it will blow your transformers. Now, transformers are the size of houses and bigger. These are massive, massive things, these transformers. And these massive transformers, we've got spares of some of them in deep storage, but how do you transport them from where they are to where they'll be needed? It's going to take months and years to recover. And the thing is, no electronic grid in the entire world has ever been turned off and tried to restart. No one has ever turned off an entire grid and turned it back on, because most countries know that your grid could not deal with the stress of restart a grid, a national grid. The stress of restarting a national grid will blow more things and cause more problems, because the system's not built to be turned off and on. So if the grid goes down, restarting the grid isn't as easily as just flicking a few switches and replacing a few fuses. Especially if you've had an EMP event. Why do I think all this is happening now? Well, there's many things. Either, well, there's a couple of different things, and it could be anything. Why is all the shit hitting the fan now? Well, it's been coming for a long time, we know that. But if you want to think of it in a funny way, think of it this way. If there is someone up there, and I'm not saying the Christian God or anything, if there is some entity up there who created this universe because he was bored, and is sitting up there with his popcorn, well, he's got to series 2 of Netflix, and they're added in the disaster DLC to make things more interesting. So basically, if there is a God up there, if there is someone watching us and having fun, they've just turned on the disaster DLC. And they're just going to sit there and have their popcorn and see what happens. On the other hand, we've screwed with things so much. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, Goblin, you're right. There's been papers. Well, the solar panel event, the thing is, as we've said, solar events, unfortunately, it's not been profitable. Just think of it this way. This is the scary thing. You know how since 2009, 2008, 2000, people... You know how when it came to the pandemic, it came out that there was for years and years and years, epidemiologists have been warning people about a global pandemic, and nobody listened and nobody prepared because it was too costly. And the same problem with EMP. people in the know have been letting people know about it, about the fact that get hit by a solar flare, and that an EMP very easy. But they could have. You can set stuff up so it's EMP resistant. Most military stuff is EMP resistant in a certain way, but it doesn't. It's not cost effective. They think, oh, what's the chance of it happening? No, we're not going to do it. Look, there was the chance of us having a global pandemic was in the 0.000, but it happened, and nobody was ready for it. Yeah, so the greed, the limitations, the short-sightedness of not preparing for the worst. Yeah. So yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I mean, in America, your disaster preparedness, the disaster preparedness thingy says that everybody should have a set of a week's worth of food and drink and that. Do you know? There was a poll done, and do you know that something like 70% of the people that live in London, I'm talking the central area of London, don't keep more than 1 day's food in their house. 70% of people in London don't keep more than 1 day's food in their house because they live on takeouts, they eat out, and they don't cook in their house. 70% of people don't have more than a day's worth of food in their house, and don't even have a non-electrical way to actually open a can of beans. They only have an electric tin opener. Now I have 6 or 7 different ways to open a can of beans. In fact, here's a tip for you. And Fargo probably knows this. The best way you can open one of these, first of all, is this. I've got the old military type tin openers and that, as well as all my normal tin openers. Well, how do you open one of these? Yeah, of course. Have you watched Threads? Goblin Mode, have you watched Threads? The way you open a tin of this, is this. Turn it upside down, find a piece of a paving stone outside your house or anything, and just grind the top. And you will get to the point where you'll learn exactly how. Grinding it against an outside thing is the easiest way to do it. Yeah, this is one of the big problems. So let me give you a link to this film. Was watched by I believe Gorbachev and a few of the main leaders in the world when it came out, and it did cause them to hesitate. This was at the height of the Cold War and the threats, and even we're talking all that side. So let me find. Threads is the most terrifying. It was done by the UK, and I suggest everybody watch this film. It's from the 70s, but this film, beyond anything else, Full Threads, 1984 film. It is the best global war film you will ever watch. I think this should be showed to every single modern leader. Food's fine. Hello there. Every single leader should watch Threads. Threads is a 1980s film about what happens to the city of Sheffield in the event of a nuclear war. Everybody should watch Threads, and every leader of every freaking country should watch it. It's scary and it's gritty and it's realistic in a way that you don't see and you won't see in any other version of a thingy. Even to the point of, at the start, when the nuclear bomb goes off, you've got people standing in the street and they lose control of their bodily function and basically start peeing themselves in the street. That's how realistic the film gets. The shock effect on people and how it is. It still stands up today. Yeah, they're nothing. They're nothing compared to this, Goblin. They're nothing. I've watched them. They are absolutely nothing compared to Threads. No, they're not, Goblin. Until you've watched Threads, you don't know that. Watch Threads. Watch Threads, and you will see what a real film. You will see the reason that Threads is the film that certain leaders watched back in the 80s and caused them to hesitate when we were heading towards nuclear war. Threads is a film that everybody should watch in the world. So we've got to make a big decision now. I love these. I love these streams in the morning. We end up talking about everything. We just go in different directions every day. Today it's been the apocalypse and things. But yeah, Threads. Threads, the film. Everybody should watch it. Have you ever seen it, Vida? Yeah, I watched On the Beach and Day After before I watched Threads. And I used to think Goblin Mode, I used to think they were good films. They were good representations. But when I watched Threads, I realised just how soft and fluffy they were. And how many punches they pulled. I wonder if Threads is available on YouTube. I know there were. No, it's not available. I can't see available on YouTube at the moment, Threads. But yeah, I would suggest anybody who's got any interest in Apocalypse, this is the film. It's classed as one of the top 10 terrifying films in the. All the others are horror films mostly, but this is a film. It's not a horror film, but what it shows in Threads is. Yeah. Yeah, you'll find it. Yeah, definitely worth having. And when you watch it, I'd love Goblin. I'd love that after you've watched it, you to come back to me and tell me what you think of it. I don't think there is any apart from. Well, you could take the Stalker games as the Stalker games. I would is the closest grittiness of that style of things, but it's not quite an apocalypse. It's an anomaly stuff, but still Stalker games do have that grittiness. They don't pull any punches. The Stalker games don't. Especially, you can get realistic mods for the Stalker games that will make them even more harsher and more apocalyptic. That can basically break you. Some of the mods for the Stalker games will break you totally. But yeah, I'd love for people to watch Threads and then let me know what they think of Threads. And if they understand why in the 80s, the leaders of the time, even the Russian leader, watched this film, from what I understand, and it caused people to hesitate about nuclear war. So I would love to hear what people think of Threads. Yeah. And unfortunately, yeah, it's sad into how we become desensitized to a lot of stuff. Okay, we've got to make a decision. Tuna or pie? Tuna or pie? In fact, no, we're going to have tuna because we'll have tuna. Bye for now, kid. You do. It's the wonderful thing about this. We can talk about anything. Each day we have a different thing. We'll talk about mental health. We'll talk about games. We'll talk about, and we can sort of go through different topics. Anything goes. So I'm going to have tuna today. Actually, tuna is the thing that's going to be had. Tuna will go with the potato meal. That's tuna I'll have with that. Because I don't have time really if I want to eat before midday. We've been talking too much. So while we're doing that, I'm going to actually prepare the meal for later, for my later meal. So I need to prepare the meal for later. So grab this. There we are. Rice. Rice. We've got rice, mixed veg. I'm making a bit of a risotto. A couple of sausages into the Instapot. Tuna. Tuna is really nice with the potato meal. All that's in there. Now, oh yes. You know, soup to go in with it. Grab some 300 ml of water. Then that can be turned on. Bye bye for now, Dark Jules. Dark Jules. Ooh, Peter. Oops. Pizza, pizza, pizza. Pizza, pizza, pizza. Do this around a bit. This is a risotto that was just cooked for later today. Oh, that's cooking. That's my meal for later. Ready? Pizza, pizza, pizza. Pizza, pizza, pizza. Pizza, pizza, pizza. Pizza, pizza, pizza. I can't have pizzas anymore. I'm very limited in the food I can eat. The doggy's good. Oh, all good. So anything else anybody would like to talk about? We can. We can chat about anything, as we know. There's no limits on what we talk about. Pizza, pizza, pizza. Or if you want to ask any questions of me, I'm going to just check. 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 I have to check. Need to check my bank account. Make sure that money is still in my bank account, which it should be. Yes, Bertie, you're beautiful. Okay. Ask. Pizza, pizza, pizza. That's it. Yep, that's. Yay, that's come out. Good. This is what we expected. This is what we wanted. Okay, Indonesian. Ask away. Ask away. It's dinner to what? Yeah. Okay, and between the two, and so I know the basics. Yeah. Bertie, you can't get on here. It's too big. You won't fit on this seat. This seat will fall apart with you on top of me. Do you understand this? No, can't get on. I'm sorry. I know, you've just got to wait a little bit. Be patient. I know you want your food. And Beryl wants her food as well, because Beryl's gorgeous as well. Beryl. Bertie. Give me a sec. Yeah, chat failed for a little bit. Okay, so if anybody talked, we lost connection for a little bit with the chat. So anything you said within the last 5 minutes, we lost access to it because the chat system just failed for like 2 minutes. So anything anybody said, you need to say again. No. Like I said, anything sent within the last 2-3 minutes we didn't get. Nothing came through. The entire chat died for Twitch, for YouTube, for Facebook. It just died. I had to go to the Restream site and reload it all and reconnect. Okay. Yeah. So my question is, if it's exponentially faster, cheaper and easier, why isn't it being used around the world? What are the limitations? And why hasn't it been taken up? Without conspiracies, without saying, oh, big tech don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. Give me the real reasons why it hasn't been taken up yet. What are the technical difficulties? Because having a concept, having a thingy, and then because that's what you got to think. Because the thing is, we all know people like to think about conspiracies and big tech wanting to be uncontrollable and all this bullshit, but mostly it is just simple fact of most of these ideas that come up with. Let's put it this way: in the modern world, do you think realistically that if this tech worked and was viable, that a big corporation wouldn't have grabbed it by now, copyrighted it, and be using it to make money? Knowing what the modern world's like, knowing how cutthroat it is, knowing how sneaky bastards they are, if this tech worked without issues, it would have been picked up and trademarked, copyrighted, and patented, and be in use now around the world. If it worked. See, I don't agree. I mean, the thing is, the people in charge of the oil, the people are not stupid. They know about future tech. They know it's coming, and most of them are not blind. They make like people might think. Yeah, but does it work? Where's the actual proof? Where's the actual thingy? Is it just a freaking TikTok video from an idiot? Without backup papers and peer reviews and all that. Has the technology been peer reviewed in the science journals yet? Or is it just some idiot on YouTube or Reddit who wanted to have a laugh at people's expense? This is the thing. Corporations and big business are always looking for viable new tech. No. You can't say that. You can't say that, Indonesia. You can't say that it definitely works. Have you tried it yourself? Have you done it yourself? Yes or no? Simple question. Have you done it yourself? Have you yourself made it and got it working successfully? Yes or no? Simple question. No, Indonesia. Simple question. Have you done it yourself and therefore have you proved it yourself that it works? Yes or no? No. Be very careful about it. Be very careful about it, Indonesia, because a lot of things that seem like they should work don't when you put them into practice, and people waste money on them. So be very careful about doing this. Do you know anybody who has put it into practice? And not only practice as a model, practice as a working thing, and then practice as a... See, this is the fact. When new technology like this comes up, think about it this way. And you can't blame it on big oil or big tech or anything that it wouldn't work. It doesn't work like that. I've looked into it enough that it's just bullshit when people try to say that, oh, it won't be done because of big tech. If it's that simple and it works, it would have been picked up. If it is as reliable as the old stuff, this is the thing. Most things that people try like this work, but they don't see the unforeseen consequences, the risks, the issues that are there. It's like a couple of years ago, this idea with new energy and new tech and all this kind of thing. Going from a concept, going from an idea like that and expecting it to work and saying, like you say, $10 worth of stuff and all that kind of for a prototype. Well, if that's the case, why hasn't some major business just done it? And why aren't they making money out of it right now? My views is with this kind of thing, be very wary. Be very wary about spending any money on it, because sometimes things that look really good in theory crap out completely when you try it in practice. Now, if you want to spend $10 on or €10 on a prototype, then do it. But make sure you limit yourself to an amount of money that you can afford to waste. And make sure that when you do it, when you look into it, when you try it, that you look at it from an objective point of view. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I've seen so many people try to follow, like, we're talking extremes now. Water-powered cars, electric cars, and all this thing about how it should have come years ago, and so on, all these kind of things. And hydrogen, even hydrogen cars. Hydrogen. If you think of the hydrogen, the idea of hydrogen as a replacement for gasoline is wonderful. The concept is amazing, but there's some massive stumbling block in front of you before hydrogen can take over from gasoline. For one thing, hydrogen is a lot more dangerous than gasoline when it's in its confined space. And creating hydrogen can take massive amounts of electricity, although they are creating what they call green ways of making hydrogen. So the thing is, every time we hear one of these new techs and people get all excited and all the green people saying, oh, it'll give us more energy and all that, people stop looking at the nitty gritty of how you will go from this idea to full production. It's a very, there is hundreds, thousands of ideas like this that come out all the time, and most of them fail, not because of the idea, but because they didn't think of the consequences or the infrastructure or the logistics or the simple basic science. They reach a point in the science where they say, oh yeah, by the way, we needed this. We don't have that. So it can be very hard to get something. I'm not saying that it doesn't work. I will have a look into it. Indeed. But there's a very good chance that there's a reason why it hasn't been thought of before and why it isn't commercial grade. I mean, can you imagine someone like Elon Musk with the Tesla factories not really being really interested in better batteries? It's one of the limitations we've got at the moment is batteries. Yes, we've got new batteries ideas coming out. I think there's sulfur batteries and things like that, and solid state batteries and that will take over. Because let's face it, yeah, you see, we all know that ion batteries are dangerous. They're freaking scary pieces. Anybody who's seen your basic lithium ion fire knows how freaking scary those things are and how hard to put out. In fact, let me find it. There's a really good little tiny short on YouTube by a channel that I used to follow a lot. Let me try to find it. Right, this just, I don't usually watch these, but let me stop this. Okay. Watch this. This is an excellent little video it's done by a funny guy who actually is a firefighter. And so watch that.
People that are making fun of these new electric car fire extinguishers need to understand something. Electric car fires are an absolute freaking nightmare to put out. The average car fire burns around 1,500 degrees or so. It takes about 1,000 gallons to put out on.
Continue to play. Didn't want it to play on the video. It's probably a bad thing, that is. Oops. So yeah, but watch that. That's a really good short, that is, that explains the terrifying nature of electric vehicle fires and that. Literally, if an electrical vehicle like a Tesla catches fire, sometimes you have to bury it. You have to bury the vehicle, put it out. It's scary. Yeah. It's scary. Anyway, I'm going to go. Actually, no, won't go yet because we'll finish off the meal so I can show you. First of all, we're at the point now. If you'll notice why I cook my meals so long, it's very simple. My body can't digest those vegetables. I have to. Vegetables I eat are cooked. Over there now. Water there. Gravy. Vegetable gravy is the only gravy I can have. time. So we need to get a few things. I need some little bit of a little bit of oat milk. I can't have dairy, and I hate that I can't have. Okay. So there is one type of cheese I can have. My body doesn't make sense. Like mayonnaise, because so let's mash them up. My power fist out. No. But yeah, you can. I will look into that. What you talked about underneath. I will look into it. But yeah, I'm very hesitant about new tech. There's so many different new technologies out there and ideas, and unfortunately, a lot of them come from Reddit and things like that, and people don't actually understand what they're doing. Got gravy. I think we've got to put the tuna out. We need to put the tuna on. Yeah, kinetic energy. It's like this. It's like the brilliant idea. Underneath, there's a wonderful idea of how to store electricity. The easiest way to store electricity is with using water or using kinetic energy. So basically, you have a massive block of concrete or water or whatever, or sand. When you've got the power, you raise the block up during the day. It's a very simple idea. You have the block up high on a huge, massive building, created construction, and then during the night, that block lowers and creates kinetic energy turned into electricity, and you've got power during the night. Very simple concept, and it works very, very well. That idea. We could store electricity from wind farms, from solar, all of these things in these huge, big blocks of concrete or water. You just pump the water while you've got the electricity during the day into the high things, and then yeah, exactly, yeah. And basically, that's a brilliant concept for stationary battery things. One of the things that people always say about solar panels and wind power is it's infrequent. You can't rely on it all the time. But if you could store, when you've got an excess, which we usually have in different countries of solar or wind, you can instead just it. Oh, we've got gravy. Maybe for the doggies. Let me show you. Yeah. Yeah, you don't need the concrete one. You can do other things with different materials, like graphene could. Okay, so we've got steel is there. Steel. Windmills, yeah, windmills. Modern advanced windmills would work, things like that. It is possible to use it, but it only works if you have an excess of power. The thing is, if you look at solar panels and wind, one of the big problems is that you have an excess of power when you don't need it. And it's the storage of that excess of power. Anyway, hello Bertie. Bertie's beautiful. Of course, there's even a simpler way of the idea of if you bleed off the excess power from a wind turbine and you use that bled off power to store in even a gas form, in a pressurized or a hydraulic system, or some way of storing it. It doesn't have to be concrete blocks. And then you use that excess of power feed back into the system during the night and during thingy. And it does work, but it's creating it so it's an efficient system. Yeah. It's like normal wind turbines. Wind turbines in the UK, we can have amazing months where nearly everything can be covered by wind turbines. But then again, the wind can fail, the wind can stop. So I'm going to go now. So I will say bye-bye for now. You wonderful people, I will go and eat. I hope you have a good morning. I will do another stream a bit later. I might be doing some cleaning downstairs, so the stream might be later in the afternoon. So I will say bye-bye for this now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone. Bertie wants a love. Bertie's here. Bertie's... Yes, you are, Bertie. You're cute, aren't you, Bertie? Bertie wants his food.